Hey guys, so today I'm going to make a video on the condition of this game and just my list of grievances against it. And yes, I do have a list. This kind of video has been a long time coming for me, but let's just hop in that list of just the problems with this game. Um, Top of that list is Spittle. Like, Spittle to me is just he at least was when he was the creative director of this game, was the number one problem with the game. And my my reason for that is just he had an emotional reaction to just about everything that he did. If you insulted him, he had an emotional reaction and he banned you. If you made a video that disagreed with anything that he did, then he banned you. If you beat him in a PvP match and he didn't like it, then he beat you. And perfect examples of which is Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart used to be really good in Legends PvP. It probably still is. I've not done Legends PvP in a long time, but Jon Stewart used to be really good because his baseball bat move. And then Spittle got his ass kicked in a PvP match, and not even 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, Jon Stewart was nerfed. His health was nerfed. His bat attack, it was nerfed. Like, just about everything about him was nerfed. And all because Spittle got beat in a PvP match. Another example of having an emotional reaction of everything is the kicking timer. The kick timer, after you kick somebody, you were locked from kicking people. That used to not be there. And then after Spittle was playing on his one of his tunes on the US, maybe it was PlayStation at the time, maybe it was PC, I forget which one, but he was playing in a raid with some pugs or whatever, and he got kicked from the group. And then, not even a month later, he implemented a 3-hour kick lock. So you kick somebody, you're locked from kicking anybody for 3 hours, and that's just because he got kicked from a raid. He has that emotional reaction. Something happens he does not agree with. He straight up bans that person. Another example of that is he kicked Obsidian Chill from test server. Obsidian Chill made this derp video about Spittle doing a hard light rotation that Spittle wasn't even doing correctly. This was when jump clipping was a thing, and he did the rotation wrong. Obsidian Chill called him out on it, and then when Obsidian Chill hopped on test server, when PvP changes, I think it was right around GU42, I believe, he kicked Obsidian Chill from test server. Now, yes, he said he was going to do it, but the problem is he kicked somebody from test server just because they made a video that disagreed with him, which is just wrong on so many levels. It's just another example of Spittle having an emotional reaction. Spittle also made a putting on a player hat thread, and every time someone would disagree with Spittle, myself included, they were banned. And it's wrong. And on the note of banning people, let's move on to Meps. Meps is another person in this game that has an emotional reaction about everything that happens on the forums. He constantly bans people. In fact, over this past week, 5 of my league mates were banned off the forums because they made a statement saying how nobody asked for the stat revamp changes. Nobody asked for, nobody asked for the core elements of this game to be removed or changed. Nobody asked for that. All we asked for was stats to matter And not only are they doing that, they're doing extra stuff. We didn't ask for that. But when they posted that, they were banned off the forums. Guess who banned them? Meps. Meps is the end all. Meps is the be all and end all when it comes to the forums. He is the one who decides if you get banned or not. He is the one who removes your posts. He is the sole person that decides who gets banned and who doesn't get banned. Who doesn't get banned. And that's a problem, especially considering how biased he is. You know, the only people that he doesn't ban are the people that kiss his ass. And that's just wrong. You know, if you want to not get banned off the forums, or if you want to voice your opinion however you want to, just kiss his ass and you can get whatever you want. That's about all I have to say about Meps. I mean, to me, he's just not even good at his job. He's a community manager, and right now he is the only line between the developers and the community, and vice versa. And if you say something on the forums that he doesn't agree with, he does the same thing that Spittle does. He bans you. And you never get unbanned. If you, and they say, oh, to appeal ban, just create a new account and PM him on the forums. If you do that, he bans that account too. Saying that you're trying to evade a ban, even though you're doing what customer service, which is what he is, you're doing what customer service says to do. So it's just a problem in and of itself. Next is Daybreak / SOE. SOE I didn't really have a problem with. I more despise Daybreak, even though I guess technically it's the same game and everything, just different companies own it. Number one on that list is just shameless money grabs. This company is all about the shameless money grabs. If you want a perfect example of which, it's replays and time capsules. Time capsules and replays are just a shameless money grab. I understand. Now everybody says, "Oh, a company has to make money, so they have to do this to make money." No. Because other games that I've played, other MMOs that have a subscription model, I can play those games free after I pay my subscription. I don't have to pay anything else to play the game or to progress throughout the game or whatever. But it seems in this game you do. If you want to progress at a reasonable rate, then buy replays. You know, if you want to, if you're tired of the grind and you just want to get leveled up faster, just buy time capsules and you get the second best gear. I don't have an issue with time capsules themselves, but I do have an issue with the fact that they have the second best gear in them, and I do have the issue with the fact that they have skill points bound to the items that are in the time capsules, making it pay to win. Now, people like Trexlite and Jaffin and all them have said, oh, it's not pay to win because it's, you have an option to get it in game. Yes, you're right, but if the item that you get contributes to your progression, it is pay to win. Even if it's in a small amount, whether you have the option to get it whether you have an option to get it for free without buying the extra stuff or not, it is still pay to win. But just people can't grasp that concept. One of my biggest issues with Daybreak is the constant annual changes that they make to this game. They've made annual changes for the past 4 years. They make a change every single year that fundamentally changes the the combat system of this game. Which makes no sense. Because if they had a clear direction of where they wanted to take this game, they would not keep making annual changes that fundamentally change the combat. Which tells me they, again, have no clue where they want to take this game. Examples of those annual changes are GU36, which took away jump clipping and introduced weapon mastery. Game Update 42, which fundamentally changed PvP, my opinion, for the worse, but that's just me. You have GU47, which basically made GU36 completely useless. Or excuse me, GU47, which made skill points completely useless. Then you have advanced mechanics, which made weapon mastery useless. And they do this all the time. In fact, they're doing it with the stat revamp. They're adding cooldowns. Putting increased cooldowns on powers that, like Frost Snipe, that's no longer an instant cooldown from what I saw in test and the feedback. It's something like a 6 or 12-second cooldown or something to the effect of that. It's not instant. So if a boss runs away, you can't taunt him until you get him back. You have to wait for it to go on cooldown, or wait for it to come off of cooldown. And they're doing it, my opinion, they're doing this. And another thing they're doing, they're removing stuns. Mental has no more stuns on test. They took away Terror Tendrils as a pot, which is, if you ask me, one of the greatest stuns in this game. It doesn't stun anymore. All it does is, do damage. It doesn't even pot. I think the only potting move that Mental has with this stat revamp is Psychic Resonance, which to me is just unneeded. And they're talking about, we're doing this to streamline the game or whatever. But what is the purpose of a controller if you can't control things via stuns and knockbacks and stuff like that? And they're removing knockbacks from Mental too. I think it's Psychic Push and Telekinetic Push, or it's Telekinetic Bolt. Those don't do pushbacks anymore. Which just is another thing that is just not... It's not right. What is the point of a controller if you can't control things? It's really pointless. And let's go to Daybreak. The developers do not listen to the community, and when they do listen, they take an idea that the community has, they put their own spin on it, and usually the spin that they put on it is, how best can we milk the community for money? And they do this all the time. They did it with crafting. Some guy had an idea on the forums way back, I think it was about a year ago, or a couple of months before crafting was introduced, actually. Crafting gear. He had an idea. You get the gear, you get the best gear off the vendor, and then you can upgrade it easily. But they made with the crafting system that they introduced, you had to practically replay every day if you wanted to, you had to play the content every day. And if you didn't play all the content every day to get your gear to salvage, you didn't salvage. Plus, it was all RNG based. You could salvage a green gear and get, two scraps, or you could salvage a piece of green gear and get 300. It was all RNG. So, and just, people hate RNG. And I've seen people that say, they hate RNG, and they hate booster bundles because it's RNG, but they love time capsules. I got news for those people. Time capsules, booster bundles, the same thing. The only difference between the two is, with booster bundles, I was guaranteed everything in there. I was guaranteed an aura. I was guaranteed the replays. I was guaranteed the repair bots, the R&D scanners, the radar scanners. I was guaranteed all of that. With time capsules, you're not guaranteed anything. You're guaranteed a few worthless collections. I actually should change that to, you're not guaranteed much at all. You're guaranteed some exobytes, which are now devalued to the point that they are close to worthless. You're given a few worthless collections, or if you're really lucky or throw a lot of money at the computer screen, you get a rare collection. I mean, another example of people hating RNG but loving, the new system is the OP gear. Now you can collect collections for OP gear. But before, you had to get lucky to get a piece of OP gear. You had to get lucky and get one piece of OP gear. You got it, it's yours. Now you have to get lucky and get 12 pieces of a collection, or excuse me, 11 pieces of the collection, and then you buy the third, or you buy that last piece off the broker, or excuse me, off the vendor for 200, 300 coins. And again, I got news for those people out there. It's all RNG. This game is. I don't see this game ever getting rid of RNG, even though I would like them to get rid of it. RNG is. It does. It's stupid. Nobody likes it. People want it gone. And feedback over years kind of says that to me. Another example of them not listening to the community, I would say, is Game Update 51. Game Update 51, or it may have been 52. But anyway, in that game update, they introduced, this was still when they were doing the mid-range balancing, they were starting the mid-range of nature, electricity, and hard light. And 3 days before the... Oh, and after people gave their feedback, the developers didn't listen. They didn't say, okay, well, we're working on this. They didn't do anything. The only thing that they did is 2 to 3 days before the game update was slated to hit live server, Tunso came out and said, "You guys have been testing powers wrong this whole time." Which I don't understand how that can be said, because we've been testing the powers the way that we were testing them before that update, before they came out with Tunso tests. We were testing powers like this for years. And they're just now telling us that, oh, we're testing it wrong, which to me was another excuse to further extend mid-range and the balance pass to further imbalance powers. Because let's face it, all the balancing pass did is just make something more OP. It didn't make one power equal damage to the other. It didn't do anything. And I kind of goes into last on the Daybreak thing is they say one thing and they do another. There's so many examples of that. Examples are there's a lot of examples out there of doing it. I can't really name any off the top of my head because I didn't really write it on my list. But there's so many examples of them saying one thing. They say one thing to the community, and actually I do have an example. The stat update. They said that advanced mechanics and weapon mastery bonuses were going to be removed. They said stats were going to matter. They said that, we're going to change how skill points function. We're going to change the trees. We're going to do all of that. But now that the stat update is out, they're not only doing that, they're also changing the combat system of this game completely. They're making it slower, and they're forcing, in my theory at least, they're forcing a 2-2-2-2 setup, which I have no problem with 2-2-2-2 groups. I see them as unnecessary and kind of silly, but I don't have any problem with them wanting to encourage 2-2-2-2 setups, but they're forcing it on us. At least that's what it seems like. They're making the combat slow. They're putting tank pools on ridiculous cooldowns. It's just not the way it should be. And here's another thing on my list is the community council / community roundtable / developer cheerleaders. These people are just useless. They are useless people. They don't do anything for this community. They don't even do what the focus group is actually set up for, the community council focus group is actually set up for, they don't do that anymore. All these people do is kiss the developer's ass. They agree with everything the developers do, and then when you disagree with the developers, they call you a hater. And it's just stupid. You know, you've had people like Trexlight. You know, he's the epitome of a developer ass kisser. You know, all he does is agree with everything the developers do. He doesn't disagree with anything. He doesn't find a way to. He just kisses their ass. You know, Jareth. Lord Jareth. He's another example. And this dude, like, not only do I consider him a developer's ass kisser, he's just a moron. You know, this guy is one of the, like, if somebody asks a question on the forums, then this guy says, oh, well, I don't have that answer, but let me go ask Meps. Like, he says that, like, you know, he's trying to boast himself up and make himself sound really important, even though he's not. Just a few days ago, somebody made a thread in testing feedback talking about some change, and it was, I think it was Gotham City. But this guy made a thread on the forums, and then Lord Jareth said, please don't post this kind of thread in here. Please don't post this kind of thread in here because it's not related to the current testing. And I quoted his post on the forums, and I said, who the hell made you a moderator? But he says this stuff to make himself sound important. He's not. Like, that whole group of people is useless. Torokamu is kind of another person. He used to kind of, like, he used to be on the fence about some things. He used to disagree with everything the developers did. And then he started making videos about seasonal events and, like, new base items or whatnot. And then, now, guess what? The developers give him pets on give him SM pets on test server so he can showcase them. And now he's done a total 180. Now he doesn't like disagree with anything the developers say. He defends everything that they do and say. All because they're giving him these perks. You know? The community council, like half of those people are moderators on Discord. And if you disagree with them, they will warn you that you're going to that they're going to ban you. And it's so stupid. You know, you sell your soul to Daybreak just, you know, for a couple of meaningless benefits, like, oh, a moderator on Discord, a moderator on Twitch, you know, I get these special SM pets on test server that nobody else can get. You know, it's just pointless. You're given these meaningless perks in exchange for agreeing with everything the developers say and do. And it's dumb. Next on my list is Brittany / select few exploits. Brittany has been caught in 2 SMs where her league has exploited. She was caught in the original SM, or not the original SM, but the OWIN 2015, I believe it was. Yeah, 2015 SM. A few of her league mates were caught doing the quantum exploit, and they up and down tonight it on the forums. And sure enough, you know, she doesn't even make sense in this picture. She posts a thread, and I don't know if y'all can see this, but I'll just read it off for you. She says on September 28th, 2015, and there's a bug with Quantum. It does a ton of damage with 3 PIs. My 132 Quantum will hit for 147k every 3-ish rotation or so, when I normally hit for 30 to 60k. It's always the same number too, 147k. That's why no one is running the 4PI setup. Then 2 days later, on October 1st, 2015, she says, I didn't know about the quantum glitch. I don't know how it's done. From what people from what people have explained, it's random. So I have no idea how to. I have no idea how to get it so it doesn't happen. But 2 days before, she explained how it was being done, and she said there was. She just doesn't make any sense. And when she's typing these things, I don't even know. I don't even think she knows what she's saying. You know, she was caught with a couple of her league mates were caught in the 2016, I believe it was, false SM. Two of her league mates were doing the weapon mastery grandeur exploit, and they were hitting for massive, huge numbers, and they were called out on it. She and her other league mates up and down denied it. Even after her league mate iChameleon admitted to the exploit. He said, and I quote, I don't know if y'all can see this picture, but here it is. I don't give a fuck what any of you have to say. There are so many people out there using this exploit so you can get off our nuts. He said that on the forums. He admitted to using the exploit, which, by the way, I believe is against the terms of service. And, you know, he admitted to the exploit, and no problems, you know, and they still, even after the SM went away, they continued to do the exploits. It's just wrong. And they deny it, and, you know, it's no problem. And then when they get called out on it, they start trash talking, you know, they start trash talking the people that called them out on it. I called them out on it, they all started trash talking me. Because I called them out on an exploit that they admitted to using. Pretty fucking stupid. Next on my list is Brittany in one of the Sourcecast videos that Trexlight used to do. She made a statement who trashing Cold Fusion for, you know, making a video and then saying he's going to leave and just doing that over and over again. And she trashes him for trying to make him sound like trying to make himself sound important, even though she quotes and says, "Oh, even though he never is, and nobody really knows who he is, and nobody cares, and blah 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 blah." She trashes him for the same thing that she does. I even got it queued up.
Making 5 or 6 going away videos and coming back every single time, and then trying to shit on every single person who plays the game, and then relive your glory days that were 5 years ago, and then be so high up on your high horse and thinking that everybody knows who you are when, number one, nobody does, and number two, nobody cares. So there's a big difference there. But, you know, that's just me.
She trashes him for wanting to, like, everybody to know who he is, but she does the same thing. Cold Fusion, he made tank guides, you know, I think he made a troller guide. He made ice tanking guide. I've looked through Brittany's YouTube channel. She has never made a single guide. All she does is, you know, make videos showing the last few minutes of a raid, you know, of them doing a really hard feat or doing SMs, and all she does there is show the last few minutes of that, and she boasts about herself doing, or her and her league doing all these great feats, which I have no problem with. If you want to make a video about that, that's fine. But the fact that she's trashing somebody for doing the same thing is really fucked up, and it's nothing but hypocrisy. And here's something else she says.
Yeah, but you're trying to make the game better, not... Mm-hmm. He is the epitome of what is wrong with this community. Like, he is that. He is what's wrong with this community. And as much as he wanted to make himself over, like, oh, I'm going to make videos for people, he showed his true colors yet again by making that stupid video he did. I don't even know what it was, but I didn't spend my time watching it because he's just a waste of time. Like, there's nothing about him that will ever be good and that will want to actually make this game and the community better. Nothing. So I just think he's a big joke. Like, he's just whatever to me, but he's not here to do anything good for the game at all. He just wants people to know who he is, and so he can sit here and say that he was once a part of something good, and he's no longer a part of that anymore. So
yeah, well, I mean,
did you hear that? She trashes him for wanting to make himself out to be a part of something, and he trashes him when she does the same thing. Again, he has made guides. He has attempted to make this game better. She has not. What guide has she made? You know, what does she do that makes this game better? She doesn't do anything. And like, if someone points something out to me that she's done to make the community better, I might change that statement. But she doesn't. All she does is kiss developer ass, make these I did this videos, and she does the exact same thing he does, but she's faulting him for doing it, which is just, it's stupid, and again, it is hypocrisy. Actually second to last on my list is water. Water was announced as a power set to be a healer power set in June of 2015. It is now December of 2016, and we've yet to get that power. Back in the Origin Crisis days, we got Quantum, Celestial, and Rage in 9 months. One 3-month DLC after another, we got a power set. A Troller, a Healer, and a Tank power set. We got 3 power sets in 9 months, but now we can't even get 1 power set in going on 18 months. Actually, it might be right at 18 months now. They announced this, that it was going to happen in 2016, which, going back, another example of them saying one thing and doing another. Water was announced, they said, during the 2016 5-year anniversary stream that they did, that Water was going to be released in 2016. We are now at the end of 2016, and we've yet to get this power set. So I gotta wonder, like, what are they waiting on? You know, they said, they're working on some things on it on test. Why can't they show us a GIF or or some kind of stream and say, show us some animations, show us something, give us hope that the power set is actually coming? Because I'm starting to believe that the power set is not going to happen. Because it's been 18 months and we can't even get 1 power set. Yet we got 3 power sets in 9 months. It just, again, it doesn't make any sense. And and everybody says, oh, well, they have a small staff and they have a small developer team. That is their fault. That is Daybreak's fault. They went through and they cut everybody off. They fired a bunch of people, or laid off, or whatever term you want to use. They fired a ton of people just to save money. Daybreak Games is owned by Columbus Nova Investments, a multi-billion-dollar investment firm, which Columbus Nova Investments is owned by either, I think it's The Nova Group or Renova Group, RENOVA, which is another investment company worth billions of dollars. And they can't come up with, $15 an hour or $20 an hour or whatever to hire a contractor to come in and make water or, do whatever. They can't do that. I find that really hard to believe. It's a multi-billion-dollar company and they can't come up with enough money to hire a temporary contractor to build a power set or to, build a new UI. At least SOE did that. They hired contractors to come in and build a new UI. Daybreak came in and said, nope, we're not paying for that. Even though it's a multi-billion-dollar company, they more than have the money to do it. And the core underlying problem that I believe is just the number one problem in this game is the developers do not play their own game. The developers, they're looking at this game through the eyes of a developer, through the eyes of a business person designed to make money. They're not looking at this through the eyes of the community, through the eyes of the players. If they were, things would be a lot different. Again, I understand a game has to make money for it to succeed and for people to continue playing it. But they take this money thing to a whole new level. You know, they don't do a certain change because it won't make them money. And the change that will make them money, the players hate. And we've said it, and as soon as we say that we hate it, we get banned. You know, if the developers played their own game, they would have known early on that people didn't DPS at max range. They didn't DPS at right up on the boss. They DPS'd at mid range. Yet it took them 4 years. I think it was Tunsa. It took him 4 years to figure out that the players only most of the time DPS'd at mid range. It took them 4 years to figure that out. But if they played the game, they'd figure it out by doing one 20-minute raid. It's not hard to figure out if they just play the game. You know, if they played the game, they would see, atomic tanks and fire tanks are way too OP in PvP. Something needs to be done about it. But they don't. You know, they would see that there's certain problems in this game that everybody sees, all the players see as a problem. They would actually look at it and say, oh, well, maybe that's a problem. I can't kill this fire tank, and he's always healing to max health. There's a problem there. I can't kill this atomic tank because he's doing a ton of damage to me, and he's healing himself, and I can't do anything about it because every time I hit him, he heals to max health. That's always... And they can't figure this out because they don't play their game. If they played their game, they would see that the grind in Amazon Fury Part 3 is just way too much. It's way too much. But they did it anyway, despite what the community told them in the feedback threads. And it doesn't make any sense. And I cannot figure out why they can't figure it out. It doesn't make any sense, and it's just stupid. That's the end of my video. It's my list of grievances and just my grief list against the developers, the ass kissers that support the developers, and just Daybreak in general. So, there you go. If y'all like it, subscribe. If you don't, oh well.